Adaya, I'm done with my report. I guess we can go to the special speaker. My understanding is his name is Aaron Yazzie, and he is Key Yazzie's son. So Ishi
Mr. Aaron Yazzie, as Rose indicated, the son of your brother Key Yazzie, and Mr. Aaron, and he's works for and one of the propulsion for jets, and so yeah, he does a lot of work. So I just want to do a brief introduction. So Aaron, go ahead, take it over.
Okay, Yate. Aaron Yazzie is Shin Schlit, which you need Bashin, Ki Ani Sheto, Hana Deshnella. Shamato Shirley Do Kiyazi. Hi, everybody. As they mentioned, I'm Key Yazzie's son. I am currently calling you guys from Los Angeles, California. That's where I live now. I've been living out here for the past 12 years now. Came down here after I graduated from college, and I've been working at NASA, the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory is what it's called. And the stuff that we do is basically all the NASA space missions that send robots to other planets or asteroids or moons or orbit the Earth to study our solar system. That's the kind of the instruments and the robots and missions that we build. And I'm a mechanical engineer, so that means that I design parts and I design machines and I design robots that can do all these various things that we want to do to study our solar system. And today I'm going to talk to you about a project that I'm currently working on that's actually about to land on Mars. It's called the Mars 2020 mission, and it's a rover. It's like a car that we're going to send to Mars that will drive around on the surface and will drill into rocks and study the rocks, all so that we can learn more about Mars and what kinds of history, what kind of past Mars might have. It's an exciting time for me because it's about to land next month. So like in 4 weeks, I'm going to land on Mars. So we're really excited about it. I have some pictures to show you guys. I'm sorry for those of you that
joined the meeting.
I'll try to make sure I describe it as well as I can. So let me share my screen. Okay, so for those of you that can see the screen, can you see the slide okay? Yeah, okay. Okay, so my first slide shows two pictures side by side. One of them was taken on Mars by a Mars rover, the Curiosity rover, and the other one is me standing in on the Navajo Nation near Tuba City. It's the area that's, if you're driving to Tuba City, you drive up that little butte and you recognize these hills. They're the very colorful layers, all the pastel colors. And when you look at them side by side, these two pictures, you see that they're really similar. You can see that the colors of the rocks are the same. You can see that even the pebbles that are strewn around on the ground are really similar. Let me show you this one. So this is a picture of me standing and then next to it is a picture of a little mesa on Mars in a place that we call Vera Rubin Ridge. And so these two look very similar too. You can see that there's different colors in the layers of the rock going up, and it's likely that both of these are sandstone type of rocks. Here's another comparison. One of them was taken near Shadow Mountain, which is where my mom's side of the family is from. And then the other compared it to a picture of this area on Mars called Mount Sharp. And you can see it's really similar. There's mesas and there's hills and foothills. There's little sand dunes. And let me show you one more that I think you'll like. Here's a picture of me at Monmouth Valley. And below that is a picture of the Curiosity Mars rover looking at what are called the Murray Buttes, and they look just the same. They're these little tiny little mesas or rock formations that are coming up out of the ground. And the reason why I like to show these is because it's not just a coincidence that things on Mars look like things here on Earth. It's actually, it makes a lot of sense because Mars and Earth are the same kind of planet. They call them terrestrial planet. That means that they are rocky and that they developed in the same way over billions of years. So, you know how Earth has a core and it has a layer of lava like mantle, and it has a crust. And then it's the same. That's the same way that Mars is structured. And the reason why Mars's surface looks like parts of Earth is because all of those things on Mars were created the same way that the things here on Earth were. And so things here on Earth, like canyons and mesas, hills and all that stuff, it's usually created because there's wind or there's water that flowed through that area a long time ago, or there's like maybe like a earthquake or a volcano kind of thing might have made a landform. So it's the same, those are the same kinds of forces that act on Mars that also happen here on Earth. So when we send things to Mars and when we study Mars, we're actually learning a lot about our own planet and our own homeland. And so that's why we send so many things there. So this next picture shows a whole bunch of past missions that we've sent to Mars. So there's all these little robots that do drive around on the planet, and they search for different, they have different purposes. So some of them were sent there to
join the meeting.
Some of them were sent there to drill into rocks and to look for what the atmosphere might have been like a long time ago. But the most current one, the Perseverance rover, is being sent to Mars so that we can look for signs of ancient life on Mars. And we're going to do that by sending it to an area on Mars that used to be a really old lake, a big lake. So on the picture I have on the top shows what water might have looked like if it was on Mars, versus what it looks like now, which it looks like a desert, right? But all that water has dried up, and we think that it left behind a whole bunch of signs and information about what Mars used to be like billions of years ago, and maybe that it'll show that there were signs of life there that were living in that lake. And we're going to do that because when a geologist is someone that studies rocks here on Earth, and they like to look at deep inside the rocks and go really up close with special microscopes and instruments, because each of the tiny little layers and the different colors you see in rocks can tell you something about what happened on Earth a long, long time ago.
They'll get yellow up back on the line.
Fossils, and they find old water and lava flows and all that kind of stuff.
Join the meeting.
So and they often will take rock cores. So I have a picture of a whole bunch of rock cores that some scientists on Earth drilled into rocks here so that they can see all the layers inside the rock and see the whole history of the rocks. We're trying to do the same thing. We're sending a rover to Mars, and we want to drill rock cores so that we can see all of Mars's history. And so here's a system that I worked on. I'm going to skip to the. Okay, so this is an animation of what the rover might look like when it's on Mars. Extending out this arm, and at the end of the arm is a big drill. And so this drill uses a set of drill bits to drill into rocks and get that rock core out of the rock. Once we drill that rock, we can dock back to the rover, and we can get that rock core safely put away inside the rover, because what we ultimately want to do with all of these is bring those samples back from Mars to Earth. And that's the first time we're ever going to bring anything back from Mars. So these sample tubes with rock cores inside them are eventually going to come back, and I got to help work on all of this. So here's some picture of the drill bits. I was the engineer that was responsible for building and designing all of the rover's drill bits. So there's a picture of them here in the top right. They're all very shiny gold, and they look like lightsabers kind of, but they are meant for the rover to be able to grab a bit that it needs and use it, and then change it out and put it back and grab another one. And they each have different purposes. So one type of drill bit grabs like loose sand, like if you went to a sand dune, you could get some of that sand. Another type of drill bit is a rock core drill bit, and that's the one that gets our rock core. And you can see a picture of that rock core here in the middle. It kind of looks like a piece of chalk, and it's about the size of a piece of chalk. And the last kind of drill bit is a braiding bit, and that really just makes it clears off the top surface of a rock, so you can take images of that. And I put this picture here on the right, the bottom right, for reference. These are actually types of drill bits that people use in mining, or like when they want to drill in rocks here. So we took a lot of design inspiration from things used here on Earth. And so this is this picture on the top left is my team that I worked on. I was in charge of a small team of people to get all this done, and we had just finished building all of our drill bits, and they're all lined up here behind us. And we're all dressed up in our clean room outfits, because a clean room is a place that we have to work because we have to keep all the stuff we build really, really clean. We don't want to have dust or like skin that can come off of us, or hairs, or tracking something from outside. We don't want that to get onto any of the stuff we're building, because we're sending it to Mars and we're looking for things like life, and we don't want to mess up that discovery. And so we had to be very careful about being clean and covering our entire body in this, what we call a bunny suit. It's this like white oak coverall type of thing, and we have a hood with it, and we have to wear a face mask, and we have to wear goggles, and we have to wear sterile gloves. And so we built it in that really clean environment, and they got installed into this image is called the bit carousel. That's how the rover held all of the bits, and then that bit carousel got installed onto the rover. So this is all of my parts being loaded inside the rover. And that's the rover all built up in the clean room, just before we were ready to sort of package it up and send it to the launch pad. And here's just more pictures of me working. The yellow arrow shows me in the big high bay next to the rover. You otherwise couldn't tell because everybody is dressed in their bunny suits. So yeah, a lot of people worked on this mission. So I was just one of a lot of engineers. Here's another type of work that I'll do is after I delivered my drill bits to the rover, which already launched earlier this year, actually, yeah, last year in July, I got to move on to other stuff. So I started helping with testing for the rover. So we built a replica of all the testing of the drill and that whole system you saw where it drills and it passes off that rock sample to a little storing area in the rover. We test that out in a big environmental chamber to make sure that it's going to work on Mars when we want to. And so it involves a lot of work in trying to move hardware around and make sure that our test matches what we might feel on Mars and all of that. So that's a fun position for me to work with. And here's just more pictures. This is me inside that big chamber with our testing hardware. Here's me standing next to the rover's twin that will stay here on Earth, and it'll do a bunch of testing here, and so that we know what kind of commands to send to the one on Mars. So yeah, Mars 2020 launched July 30th of the year 2020. That was last year. And it's currently flying on its way to Mars, and it's almost there. Like I said, it's going to land in like 3 weeks. And on that launch day, I got to be involved in a lot of media outreach. So we were still quarantined, so I had to watch the launch just like everybody online on a web conference call. So it launched at a time where here in LA it was 4 o'clock in the morning. So I woke up really early and got my coffee and watched the successful launch. And then after that, I went and did a whole bunch of media interviews with news outlets and people all across the United States, and Even Southern California News interviewed me, so I was on everybody's TV here in Southern California. So get ready for landing. It's happening February 18th of next month. So if you have kids or you have students, or if you are interested in space or anything like that, you should tune in. You can watch online, or they'll probably have it broadcast on TV. And I'm almost done here. So like I was saying, we want to bring these samples back to Earth eventually. So we're going to do that through more missions. This is only the first mission in maybe 3 missions that we'll use to get those samples back. So we'll send another mission to try to grab all those tubes that have the rock cores inside them, and then it'll launch from Mars into orbit, and then we're going to send one more mission to catch those while they're orbiting and then bring those back to Earth. So I actually just learned that I'm working on the next mission, the Mars sample return mission. So that's exciting. And this is one of my last slides. So I just like to put this in here to tie it home. Like the top left picture is a picture of the Curiosity rover scooping up some sand on Mars. And then right next to it is a picture of my Nelly scooping up some sand at her cornfield. I think there she's maybe covering the kneel down bread oven with dirt. So I think maybe that's how I got my good scooping skills. And then down at the bottom is a picture of my Nelly's Peabody employee card, because he worked at Peabody for his whole life, and he was good at digging down into the earth. And I now, as at my job, I dig into Mars. So I think I got my skills from my Nellies, and also my dad. So this is the last picture I have. That's me on my dad's shoulders, and this is Black Mesa. I always like to tie it back and remind myself all the time of where I came from and why it's important that I do this. Like, one, I think that what I'm doing is helping bringing us knowledge about our own planet, about Earth, and that's what we as Navajo people think is important too, about understanding where we came from and our origins. So that's the kind of work I do, and I'm proud to do it. And I'm proud to represent Black Mesa, all of you guys who are from the area that I originated. And I hope that people out there back home can feel like they're part of a mission like this too, because it involves you guys too. That's it. That's all I got.
Yat sadazun idol kit jun jdo an kit khato I see go banan nishne to I seen le Mars destination that some nan stuff issue with natural condition planet your destination I mean lagonic yeah. Sashi doesn't I don't get Negi. Any questions?
I would like to make a comment. This is Rose. I hear Chinala Chiche Shinita Chiche. Rodelano Adole Benanjnish. I am really proud of you for doing what you're doing. And one thing I would like for you to sort of explore is to see if there's any green pastures over there for our animals.
Okay.
So it seems like us Navajo people are always looking for good pastures and whatnot. So I'm really happy that you're into that. And I was just wondering if there are any rocks that are brought back from there. I don't know, or somehow sneak one to Black Mesa when the whole environment gets better again. We can take a peek at it. I sure would like to have seen what you were talking about, but it's kind of really inconvenient the way we do our conference because we can't see each other. But in Joniet, good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a question or comment.
Me.
Go ahead, Keith.
Oh, Diné. It's good to hear from Aaron. He has a good story and good to see him. I'm the daddy, so I have something here for the next time he goes up. Maybe he can take it up there to Mars. Also, so do you communicate with the rover? Do you talk to it? Or is it only by signals?
So yeah, it's mostly by signals. The rover doesn't really speak English or Navajo. It just listens to computer language. So we have to program everything in a computer, and then we send it just by signal to Mars. And it takes a while because Mars is really far away from Earth. So it takes about, it maybe takes about 7 minutes just for something, a signal to travel between here and Mars.
Okay, Diné, the response to Rose, yeah, la de pededan.
That's our life. That's why.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We still have a few minutes. Sadazanana, Sadazat, Nidal Kidara, that's a comment, as a nan. Try see our hands and just a Jim Macado, out of Giago. Yeah, she just had dog, she when not, she just initially, generally, Nashin Dastan, generally, LA to Dastan, like Lagana get her. Is she out of she NASA, she bunches Nish out of a kitchen, these thought that you love. Is she engineers of the Dayland all there. The natural bounce is a case of Sanjit around take case of you. It is around natural. Balls that Heggy natural issue because I see Janosiel it can Jindelo only Mars that the negotiation are she been just she conflict but earlier are clear that Heggy issue that Asian Dale caution issue been yes that's been yeah that's in nada this natural life in nada a whole lot no goshing added as just added as in nada a lot so that Asian in yenda just just thought that's a yin that you know about jilne opic at the halian de Asian as a conscience that just to that all kashibiniya Harashin issue natural that she echoes in she up in the edge quite and hit mass some card listening hot Ellie Hansen Zashin hall just she does a issue that and that just said that the whole necessarily do stage that issue but natural shin that just ship Arashin but that just she issue and issue but that just it oshin Nashi all that she been yeah she advancement of the people they need is she also nas how she nas at that this they is she been yes in that just car oh yeah all sort of distance said I see out here hot all John here oh in natural we all we're proud of you and we just kind of make us feel like you're part of us so we just say just she is lala just that needs and stuff just also the here today case so that yeah I see you so that's a not kid out of that comment as a non
Oh, sure. Lily Johnson, can you hear me?
Oh.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you, and I don't know how I can say. I'm just proud of you, especially your I don't know, second cousin or some. He's my cousin. I don't know how Kijk, uit onze Europese grond. Het eindbelangrijk your extended family from
Join the meeting.
called Sahabaya Nandideshki. How long does it take them to once the robot leaves from the Earth to Mars? How long is that is going to get there? And the other question I have is, one of my granddaughter is very interested in NASA and how to get there. Like the college that you went through and everything else. She's only in junior high, but I believe that the time flies by really fast. So, but yeah, I mean, I was wondering if you have any, just like the pictures that you have that you I guess you showed, but we cannot see it. Only kind of hard to really follow it when you just listen. I was wondering if you can make some copies and send it to P.O. Box 1135, Canton, Arizona. It's Lily Johnson. And for my granddaughter. I just have that question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I can definitely maybe make a PDF or something of the slides and give it to either Carlette or my dad, and they can send it to all of you guys via email if that works. Just so you can see all the pictures that I was talking about. And you had a question about how long it takes the rover to get there when it's flying. It always depends on how heavy the thing is that we're sending. So if it's a pretty light mission, then it'll fly faster. But this one's pretty heavy. It's like the size of a car, and it probably weighs about that much too. So it takes about 9 months for it to fly from Earth to Mars. And a little bit more about that too is that Earth goes around the sun in 1 year, right? Like 365 days. Mars goes around the sun every 2 Earth years. So takes twice as long for it to go around the sun. And every 2 years, Earth and Mars get pretty close to each other, and then the rest of the time they're pretty far apart. So we always try to launch between the 2 planets when they get close to each other. So that's why we choose when to launch. And then the other question you had was about advice for the little ones. So it's great that the young ones are interested in this kind of work, because I when I grew up, I knew I liked school, and I liked making things, building things, and I liked math and science. So I think I was kind of conditioned. I was already thinking that I was going to go into engineering, but it really helps to do well in school. I think that's really important, is to just do well in school. And for me, it wasn't something that my parents had to always push me to do. I kind of was really self-driven. I think I really wanted to make good grades, and I looked for different programs, like if there's a fun program that she can get involved in at school, like a robot competition or a science Olympiad or a math competition or something like that. Those are always really fun and get people interested in this kind of stuff. And it helps when you want to start applying for scholarships and thinking about college. When I was ready to go to college, I decided to go to Stanford. I got accepted to Stanford, which was a big leap for me. I didn't expect to be able to get into a college like that. But I think all the good grades and the work I had done before and the things I was involved in school really helped me look good and helped me get into a place like Stanford. And at the time, Stanford was the number 2 or number 3 top engineering school in the whole nation. So I knew it was going to be a really good education for me. And so that's where I went.
Thank you.
Hey, Aaron. This is Sam. This is Sam Yazzie. Yate. I just wanted to also appreciate you for your presentation. That was very interesting. That was way above my head, but I thought it was interesting. I thought at any minute there was going to be an Asian tourist bus coming up around over there on Mars, like it does here at Monument Valley. I don't know if life is found there on Mars. It's I don't even know if we'll be able to see each other even when we're on Earth. It's hard for us to see other members of Black Mesa. I haven't seen some of these folks here in a long time, but I just think that's fascinating that you're in there. I used to live right down the street from NASA there in Clear Lake. So a lot of the people there, a lot of the astronauts actually were coming to our church. So I got to learn a little bit more about what you all do out there, but just wanted to just say a couple of funny things about it. But it's good to see your mom and Shirley and Key and everyone else here on the Zoom conference. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a question for Sam. Yeah.
I'm not taking any questions today.
I thought you were closer to Mars over there at the big point. You know, you should be able to be up there.
No, I think that's called the reclamation area. Oh, that was a cheap shot at my body. I'm sorry.
Oh, Joe, yeah.
I have a comment. This is Fern.
Go ahead, Fern.
Yes, that's a reclamation area when people are not obedient to not grazing. Ha ha ha. Anyways, I think that Aaron is a great role model for our young folks today, and I really wanted us to invite him a couple years ago and invite the students, but the students are not in class right now. They're doing all doing distance learning.
Fern, you mute yourself. I don't know if you're still talking.
Oh, I'm muted.
Oh, you're
sorry.
done.
Well, I think
okay.
that Aaron is a great role model for students, and I think that, you know, he did the presentation or speech there at the school at one point, but we do have students growing up, and maybe this should be shown to them again. Presentation when the pandemic is over, and come and invite the students to see some of these things, and also for Aaron also to interact with them. I think that will be really great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do something like that. If we wanted to set something up through this, or if you could help get me in contact with their schools or something, we could definitely do something.
Thanks, Aaron. You're making a huge difference in everybody's lives, and you're also making a big difference on behalf of Gene as well. And that's one of the things I always talk about where I work at. And you know, I not only talk about you, I talk about Carletta, and also a lot of different people from Black Mesa, all the extraordinary things that you all are doing. And I talk about a lot about you, and something, you know, we all came from a root that is really down to the earth. So I really talk a lot about that. I see Alba Hansen, and you represent us as well, and we all represent each other as well, not just through clan, but also, you know, as beings as well to the same time. So if there's no more comments or questions, we will continue with our agenda, and I will turn that back over to Rose for the next agenda item. Again, thank you, Aaron. Really,
Aaron,
thank you.
it's good. It's good. The journey yet.
Thank you.
Carl,
Thank
I
you.
just also wanted to say thank you to Aaron for joining us tonight. I'm always love to have him here. He spoke at our annual meeting several years ago, and I'm just really proud of Aaron. And he is a role model for our children and our youth. And we have several role models in our community. So it's wonderful to have you here again today. And to share with the community here, the position that Aaron has at the Jet Propulsion Lab is very rare for anybody, not just a Navajo or Native American, but for any person to have his position, to be able to design instruments and be part of a group like that is a very special thing. And that Aaron is part of our community and from Black Mesa is even more extraordinary. So I think it would be wonderful to have you back again and to interact with our youth. Thank you, Aaron.
Oh, thank you guys.